Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Annabeth. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. So on this channel we talk all things knitting, what I'm working on. I do some sock machine videos, all of that good stuff, knitting updates, and today is the 9th of April, so that means we have made it through the first 3 months of the year, so that means it is time for some Q1 goals updates. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about my knitting goals, my cranking goals, my making goals, where things are falling at the moment, how we're doing with the different goals, and then I also have some fun data and charts to show you as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, quick disclaimer before I start. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes in this notebook. So I have kind of like six sections. I was looking at my third goal. 6 sections that this is going to kind of be broken into. So kind of like five of them were goals that I established at the start of the year, and then the 6th section will be all of the data that I have gathered so far in my Wearing My Knits data collection endeavor that I took on this year. So first things first, let's talk my 5 main goals. So the first goal I had for this year was I am joining my friend Rachel from Rachel is Knitting in her endeavor to make 24 things in 2024. So right now I have 6 finished objects, and what I'm counting as a finished object for this is hand knit finished objects. So I'm not counting anything that I make on my sock machine, with the exception of the beekeeper's quilt that I am working on via my sock machine to make the little hexie puffs. If I somehow manage to make enough puffs and finish that by the end of the year, it's 100% being counted. But I don't see myself doing that. I see that being a really long lingering whip, so it's just like, if it gets done, it'll get counted towards the 24. If not, it's a moot point. Like, it's fine. So currently I have 6 finished objects so far this year. I'm currently wearing my most recent finished object. This is the Field Day cardigan by Ozetta. I knitted up in Armor of Agathis from Red Door Fiber Studios. So super cute. It's got some buttons, all that good stuff. Really great cardigan. I've been wearing it so much since finishing it. So yeah, 6 finished objects in 3 months. That puts me right on track to hit the 24 in 24 goal. So I should be averaging about 2 hand knit finished objects per month, and I'm doing that. And that might tick up a little bit this coming summer because I have a lot of knitting plans that are just like tank tops and tees and more hand knit socks and some other smaller projects that are going to be giftables. So that might see an uptick in the summer, just because like a tank top in general, like there's some other factors like fingering weight yarn versus DK weight yarn, but in general a tank top doesn't take me as long to make as a full sweater. So might see an uptick there, and then we might see a downtick, I don't know, a decrease in productivity when we hit the fall, because as I've mentioned before, I think on this channel, I've definitely mentioned it on my Instagram, I am starting grad school in the fall. So there's a chance productivity will decrease as I get my life together in going back to school for my master's. So we'll roll with the punches, we'll see where it takes us. But yeah, so far on track for making 24 things in 2024. So that's goal number 1. Alright, so goal number 2 was my Make 9 that I established at the end of 2023. These were 9 things that I hoped to knit over the course of 2024. I have finished 1 thing from my Make 9 so far. I finished the Lento sweater, my yellow Lento. I made it in Hello Stella fibers. Saffron and Marigold were the 2 yellows that I held together for that one. So that's great. And then I also have a whip from my Make 9. I'm currently working on the Antique Flora by Wool and Pine Designs. that's really close to getting done. I have one sleeve left. It's just, with the weather getting warmer, it's a little bit hard to motivate myself to finish this sweater because it is a DK weight pullover color work sweater. So as the weather gets warmer, I'm not gonna wear it yet. So I just really need to motivate myself. I might establish like a vitamin rose thing where, if you're not familiar with that, I think I've used that term on here before. My friend Rachel she's Into the Wools now on Instagram. We've talked about how we like get through lingering whips or whips that we just aren't as inspired by anymore as much, like don't want to work on as much. We set ourselves a goal every day, like get 5 rows done, get 10 rounds done, finish 1 color work repeat or stripe repeat or something, and those are your vitamin rows. So when you take your vitamins, you gotta take your vitamins before you can do any of the other fun knitting that your brain actually wants to do. So I think I need to establish that with the second sleeve. The first sleeve went by pretty quickly, but that was when it was still in the 30s and 40s every day in Northeast Ohio, and today it hit at least 75. So it's gonna be kind of hard to finish that one, but I'll set up a vitamin thing. Vitamin. I totally lost the word. Whatever. I'm gonna set up some vitamin rows to get that done, because then I can have it done. And if we get an odd cold day in the coming months, which will probably happen, I live in Northeast Ohio, so there's a chance we'll hit 30 degrees in May. You never know. Then it'll be ready to wear. That being said, I am currently kind of regretting making my Make 9 all sweaters, because initially I was like, oh yeah, definitely, like I can, even with the summer months, I can totally like make these 9 sweaters or whatever over the course of a whole year. Like I can definitely do that. And now I'm just not motivated to make any of them. As I said, weather's getting warmer. I want to make tees. I want to make tank tops. I want to make other small things. So right now I'm kind of regretting not making some of my Make 9 tees and tank tops and socks or something like that. But oh well. It's like the Make 9 is such a casual goal. Like it's just honestly half the fun is at the end of the year putting up your initial planned Make 9 and then putting up 9 things that you actually made that year. So if nothing else, I'll have that kind of fun comparison. But speaking of sweaters in warmer weather, I am thinking as long as the yarn comes in soon, which it should, I was thinking during the warmer months I will work on my heirloom quilt cardigan, because if you've made that sweater cardigan before, you know that it's knit up in just the little colorwork blocks and then you seam them together at the end. So that could be something that I'm able to work on in the warmer months without feeling like I'm just drowning and sweating underneath an entire sweater. So that's also a thought, also an option. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to some spring and summer knitting. I have some fun warmer weather blends and also plans that I have coming up, so super excited for that. So yeah, Make 9. Goal number 2 was my Make 9. I have one thing finished and one thing kind of almost, I gotta finish it. One finished object and one whip. So that was goal number 2. Alrighty, so then goal number 3 was my net stash change. I just calculated it because I got some yarn in the mail yesterday. So as of today, April 4th, 2024, my net stash change for the year is, drumroll please, negative 235 grams. Yay! So we are still in the negative, so that's super exciting. My goal, obviously, for this year is a negative net stash change, so that's awesome. And with the spring and summer knitting plans that I have coming up, there is a lot of knitting that's going to be done from the stash that I already have. So I'm super excited about that. And I don't have that many ordering plans coming up. Like the first quarter of the year, January and February especially, there were just so many amazing collections and in-stock updates that were done. I don't think I have any coming up for April. Well, Painted Fern Fiber Company is having kind of like a mystery skein sale, which happens to fall on my half birthday, April 19th, so I will probably get myself a little treat from that. But if I were to knit nothing else and get myself like one sock set from that, I would still be in the negative. So I have a little bit of wiggle room, so that's great. And I also don't have that many like outstanding orders, like orders that I've placed and that are being worked on and I still need to come in. I don't have that many left. So given the things that I'm going to finish and get done, and given those orders, I should be able to maintain negativity still. So that's great. So yeah. Oh, and then also I know a lot of yarn dyers are gearing up to release, announce, take pre-orders for their advents for this year, for the month of December. I don't know if I'm going to do a yarn advent this year, if I'm being totally honest. I did the Sundays countdown, the In the Stacks Sundays countdown from Teeny Button last year, and that was fun. But I think I got a lot more joy out of my Twice Sheared Sheep advent calendar last year. So I think I'm just going to do that again if they have that advent, which I'm sure they will. Like, it's one of their most identifiable things is the Twice Sheared Sheep advent calendar. So I think I am just gonna get that again. And I don't think I'm gonna do a yarn advent unless somebody comes out with one that's like absolutely spectacular and just scratches my brain for like some sort of like niche pop culture thing that I'm obsessed with. Like if somebody makes a Halsey advent calendar, yarn advent calendar, take my money, like right away. But it would have to be something like very specific, I think, at this point to sway me towards a yarn advent. So yeah, we'll see. So yeah, goal number 3, net negative stash change. Going well so far. Negative 234 grams at the moment. So that's fantastic. Alrighty, we're just flying through these at the moment, but don't worry, the big chunk with all the data will come afterwards. So the next goal number 4 for the year, was to design more socks. I had a design. I've talked about a design that I was working on for a while, via knitting updates and stuff. It was the overflow, or overflowing, or melted. I kind of like the name overflow. So given that I've settled on a name, maybe I'll write the pattern. I don't know. It was giving me such a headache that I don't know if I'll end up releasing that pattern this year. But hey, I designed them, so we can like give that one half credit. But that being said, the overflow socks may have been kind of a disappointment, but the one that I'm working on now is not. I am so excited for it. I've sent it to a couple yarn friends and they're also so excited for it. And if it works out, it could be the first in a little mini series of designs and patterns, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to make some more progress on these socks so that I can show them to you guys. I am on the foot of the first sock already. I started them a week ago? Maybe not even a week ago, and I'm already on the foot of the first sock, and there's a few tweaks I'm gonna make for the second sock, but it's good. It's really good. I love it so much. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So there you go. I primed your palettes for you. That's all you're gonna get though. So yeah, working on designing some more socks. We stumbled from the start, but we stumbled off the blocks, but we're hitting our stride now, I think. So hopefully that's just good things to come then from that. So yeah, moving on to the next goal. Otherwise, I'm gonna talk too much and spoil what it is. Okay, so we have made it to goal number 5. Goal number 5 was learning how to use my circular sock machine from Dean & Bean Sock Machines More. It's going great. I've made a lot of socks. I have made a couple can koozies. If you follow me on Instagram, and I've also been trying to post them in the shorts here on YouTube. I have my mystery sock cranking series, which is just a lot of fun so far. I love all of the participation that I'm getting from that. I'm thinking probably one of my next couple of cranks I'll just pull directly from the YouTube comments, because Instagram has just been getting, like, the numbers suggested on Instagram have just been getting more votes, but I would love to give you guys here on YouTube some more credit where it's due. So probably I'll do a couple mystery cranks like back to back, and like one I'll pull from Instagram and one I'll pull just from YouTube. So if you want to voice your opinion, check out my most recent short here on YouTube. That's what they're called. And you can voice your opinion, comment which number you want me to crank, all that good stuff. So yeah, mystery sock cranking is a lot of fun. It's helping me use up a lot of sock yarn as well, which is a lot of fun. And my next adventure for my sock machine, well, I shouldn't say that, because that's what I call my sock machine series, Adventures with a Sock Machine. Hopefully the next plan for that is to finally make the Hexy Puff video that I've been promising you guys for like a month now. But next endeavor, next new thing that I'm going to try and make on my sock machine is either fingerless mitts or mittens. So yeah, Dean & Bean has a couple patterns for those, so hopefully I will be able to do that. And my camera battery is flashing at me, so that's all I have to say about learning the sock machine. So we're going to move on to the next one after I change out the battery. I really got to make sure I like stay in this part of the frame, because I'm going to be putting all the data and charts and stuff for you to look at over here while I talk about them. So I got to stay on my side. Alright, anyway, next up, I'm going to talk about wearing my knits. So I didn't really have a specific goal surrounding wearing my knits this year. I was just going to kind of track what knits I'm wearing the most, what types of knits I'm wearing the most, like socks versus sweaters versus tees versus tank tops versus hats, all that good stuff. So, yeah, let's just get into some of the data. So I have this big old Google spreadsheet that I've put together, and then I have like charts that I update every month, just like bar charts that I update every month, so really get like a visual of what I'm wearing, and it's so fun. I actually look forward to the end of the month, because that means I get to update all of my knitting data. Yeah, so let's just talk about it. So I'm going to put up my overall wearing my knits bar chart. So you'll see I have the months of the year at the bottom. I have just like a quantity over on the y-axis, and then the bars are multicolored striped bars, and each different color represents a different knit. And then of course I have 3 bars because we have 3 completed months of 2024, January, February, and March. So overall, as you can see, I've been pretty consistently wearing knits. Even with the slightly warmer weather we've been getting in March, I didn't see that much of a decrease in knits that I was wearing. So that's great. And then also overall, here are the most worn knits of every category that I have so far this year. So my most worn sweater has been my Seasons cardigan. It has had 34 wears. So if you think about it, I have been wearing this cardigan more days this year than there are days in January or March. And that does not surprise me at all. Well, first of all, that's a pretty big feat because I did finish it in January, so there were some days in January where I just didn't have it yet to wear. But it also does not surprise me that I've worn it that much, because it's basically been like a house coat for me. Like, I'll get up in the morning, and if I'm feeling a little chilly, I'll just throw it on to go make my coffee. Or like when I get home from work and I just want to take all my work clothes off, put my pajamas on, but then I'm a little chilly, then I put it on. Like, it's literally like my house coat right now. So it does not surprise me that it has that many wears so far. We'll see how much I keep wearing it as the weather gets warmer. Lately, I've been wearing my field day cardigan around the house because it is a little bit of a lighter weight. The Seasons cardigan is knit with like an Aran weight yarn. This is DK, a little bit lighter, a little bit looser. So we'll just see what continues to happen as the weather gets warmer. So my most worn sweater was the Seasons cardigan. My most worn tee/tank top is the Nostalgia tee. I've worn it 5 times so far this year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, if you think about it, it's been sweater weather so far this year, so it will probably get more wears along with all of my other tees and tank tops as the weather continues to get warmer. So that's my most worn tee/tank. My most worn hand knit socks have been my Wicked vanilla socks. So those are the vanilla socks I made a while ago with the Because I Knew You sock set from the Little Foxes from their Wicked collection. That doesn't really surprise me that much either, because that was before my Overflow socks. That was my most recent finished hand knit sock project. So it just kind of makes sense. Like, it was front of mind at the start of the year, so of course I was wearing it a lot while I was wearing my hand knit socks. So then my most worn cranked socks, because I separated hand knit and cranked socks for the sake of data. My most worn cranked socks are the one-of-a-kind blue stripe socks, and they have had 5 wears, and that makes a lot of sense too, because they were the first pair of socks that I made on my sock machine. So they've been around the longest, they have the most wears. There you have it. And then finally, my most worn accessory so far this year has been my Witcher Oslo hat with 20 wears. And that, again, does not surprise me in January and February especially, with colder months, or with colder weather, and then, like, if I had a truck day or something at work, that is my go-to hat. The September hat that I have is another go-to, but Oslo is 100% go-to warmest hat that I have right now. So yeah, it's my go-to hat. It does not surprise me at all that that's my most worn accessory. So now, so that's my overall charts as well as overall most worn things. Now I want to go through every section that I have. So sweaters, tees and tanks, accessories, cranked socks, and hand knit socks. However, when we go through that, I'm not going to give you the stats, because I just gave you the most worn in each category. I'm not going to give you the stats for all 3 months. I'm just going to give you the stats for the month of March, just to keep this section a little bit shorter. So let's go ahead and start with sweaters. Alright, I'm going to be hitting you with a lot of charts now. So yeah, starting with sweaters, here's the chart for sweaters only. So in the month of March, my most worn sweater, to nobody's surprise, was my Seasons cardigan with 15 wears. And that's also something I should also say about my Seasons cardigan. Like, I'm just counting wears, like, if I wear it for at least an hour in a day. So, like, I can wear my Seasons cardigan for an hour or 2 in the morning before I get ready for work, and then wear a different sweater for work. So, like, that's kind of how this is being counted. So, yeah, Seasons cardigan is number 1. My Lento was number 2 at 6 wears. That does not surprise me at all either, because I finished my Lento early-ish in the month of March. So then, of course, it's my most recent finished object. It's perfect for the weather that's outside, because it's like a nice open gauge, but still pretty warm. So that ended up being number 2 for the month of March with 6 wears. And then I had a 3-way tie for 3rd. So each of these sweaters had 2 wears for the month of March. So my 3 Seasons cardigan, my Scary Movie striped sweater, and my year-round cardigan. So each of those was had 2 wears for the month of March. So now moving into tees and tank tops. My most worn, as you can see, I only had 2 that I wore for the month of March because it was still pretty cold. My most worn was my nostalgia tee with 2 wears, and my second most worn was my pink ranunculus with 1. So that's the tees and tank tops for March, and I am expecting this graph to kind of like make a turnaround as the weather gets warmer. Right now it's kind of like but as the weather gets warmer, I'll be wearing more tees and tank tops because that's how that works. So yeah, moving on. Accessories. Accessories had a big dip, as I'm sure you can see. The Witcher Oslo hat and Mary's cowl were tied for first place, with 2 wears each for the month of March, and then my blue Sophie scarf had 1 wear. So yeah, the weather's getting warmer. I'm not wearing accessories as much. I'm expecting the next couple of months to be like 1s and 2s and then like 0s for a few months as well, especially in Q2 and Q3. Like, I'm not gonna need hats and scarves, hopefully, unless something absolutely catastrophic happens. So yeah, that's accessories. So moving into then the socks. The socks are interesting, and you'll see why. Okay, so the socks are interesting, and I'll tell you why. So we're going to talk about cranked socks first. So here's the chart for cranked socks. Pretty even spread between the cranked socks. Like, I didn't have an absolute winner for which one I wore the most in any month. So in general, my cranked socks are getting like 1, 2, 3 wears each over the course of a month, which is great. However, these bars are going up because I just have more cranked socks to wear. So there's that. And then also I'm expecting, like, if we're predicting trends right now, I'm expecting the cranked socks to kind of stay where they are. Maybe dip down a little bit as the weather gets warmer, but not much, because as I've talked about before, one of the great joys from cranking socks that I've gotten is cranking shorties, so little ankle socks, and I can wear those when the weather is warmer, and I've done so already, like this month. So I'm not going to divide up the cranked socks data between socks and shorties, but I do expect it to kind of plateau and for my most worn cranked socks to be shorties. Yeah, and just because they're cranked socks and I can make them relatively quickly, like I can crank a pair of shorties in an hour right now, about an hour. I guess don't have as much anxiety or guilt around wearing them. So I can wear them and I can get a little bit sweaty, or I can wear them to work and just be on my feet for 8 hours, and like it doesn't have as much of an effect, like a worrisome effect on me, as if I were wearing my hand knit socks to work. So yeah, I guess take that as you will. But I'm 100% expecting to keep wearing shorties through the warmer months. So we'll just see how that goes, I guess. And they're a lot more comfortable than like my mass-produced socks that I got from the store. So there's that. They fit me a little better. They're more comfortable in my work shoes and my other shoes. So yeah, I'm expecting to keep wearing them. So now is the really interesting part. So let me go ahead and put up the hand knit socks chart. Just go ahead and look at that for a second. I promise I did not make a mistake when inputting the data for this chart. Yeah, I didn't wear any hand knit socks in the month of March, which was absolutely wild to me when I was doing this wrap up. There were just a lot of factors in play. A lot of them I've talked about already. Like, I tend to wear cranked socks, especially cranked shorties, to work more. And I had a very busy month over the course of the month of March at work. So I was just working a lot. I was doing a lot of stuff at work that involved me running around and being on my feet a lot. So yeah, I'm not surprised that I didn't wear any hand knit socks to work. I was a little surprised in myself that I didn't wear any hand knit socks on my off days. So that is something that that's a goal I'm kind of like setting for myself for this month, for the month of April. Obviously, when the weather gets a lot warmer in May, June, July, August, I'm just not going to want to wear hand knit socks. So we can expect some more 0 months to come, but for April, I definitely, like, on off days, I want to try and wear a pair of hand knit socks just so they get a little love as well. But yeah, like I mentioned before, as the weather gets warmer and as I'm maybe on my feet more or just at work, I'm more likely to wear crank socks and shorties, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was just kind of surprising at first that I didn't wear any hand knit socks at all in March. Like, absolutely none. I can say I have already worn some hand knit socks over the first few days of April, so we're already doing better than March was. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to all the charts and datas that I had for wearing my knits. Alrighty, that is just about it for what I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this little discussion about my goals and how I'm doing on my goals for the first quarter of the year. If you found the data interesting, feel free to let me know. If you found the video as a whole interesting, feel free to give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel. I'll definitely try to keep doing like probably quarterly goal updates, but I'll also intermittently update on various goals through my knitting updates as well. So yeah, feel free to comment below how you're doing on your specific knitting, crafting, making, life, whatever goals too for 2024. I'd love to hear that stuff, and I would love to hear how you're doing as well. So yeah, other than that, as we enter April, I hope April is kind to you. I hope the first quarter of the year was alright, if not also kind to you, and as always, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye!